Welcome back to Ghost Powered Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you another 10 recommendations that you can watch right now on Shudder. Alright, so anybody who's been watching my channel for a minute knows I love Shudder. I'm a big fan. And I hear people all the time talk about that there's nothing to watch on Shudder. So my goal is to every month give you guys 10 more movies that you might not have heard of, but that I believe are definitely worth the watch. So with that, let's get to the list. Alright, so starting off the list is the 2018 film Monster Party.
We gotta get out of here. Those kids aren't leaving this house alive.
And this movie is a party. It's an absolute blast. And if you're a fan of the early 2000s TV show Charmed, then this would be a treat for you as well, because Robin Tunney and Julian McMahon both play huge roles in this, and they're absolutely a blast in this. The basic idea of this movie is this girl and her two guy friends, who are basically small-time crooks, decide that they're going to rob these really wealthy people that the girl works for. She's basically a maid, so their idea is to go along with her and pose as waitstaff, so all three of them will basically be working at this dinner party, and then they will rob them while they're there. Well, the joke's on them because things go crazy sideways, and I don't want to give anything away, but let's just say the people, the family of this house, are not regular people. They're psychotic, and it gets pretty twisted. It's gory, it's campy, it's over the top, and it's a movie that I think if you've never checked out, I think you'll have fun with it, so I definitely recommend checking it out right now.
I'm ready to make the Dawsons great again.
Alright, now we go to Night of the Lepus from 1972, and I'm going to tell you right up front, this is about giant killer rabbits.
What is the terrifying mutant that strikes from behind the shroud of night?
So let's just say off the top, we all know that rabbits are not scary, even if they're giant rabbits. And this movie plays that completely straight. Like somehow these giant rabbits, and they're not even like mutated, other than that they're just big, but that somehow giant rabbits are terrifying. But if you're not someone who finds that hilarious, that's all good. It's not for everyone. But if you're like me and that premise is just hilarious, then I think you'll love this. I was riveted and just had a blast through the whole runtime. But it's not going to be for everyone.
What can stop them? Night of the Lepus.
All right, now we go to The Cleansing Hour.
And cut. Nice job, everybody.
And this is a possession type of movie, but it's definitely different. It has a real kind of different twist about it because it's basically about these guys who have this reality show where there's a priest and he performs exorcisms. So you find out right away that, yeah, the guy's a priest, but he's not really performing exorcisms. These are people acting. But then things get real, things get serious, things get gory, brutal, and actually pretty damn scary through parts of this. But it's definitely creepy and just soaked in that gross possession funness, and I thought it was actually really well done. But no matter what, for a small movie, I thought it was a really good time, and I do recommend it. Next up is the 2019 film After Midnight. And this is more of a drama horror, but it does have a weird creature feature angle to it. And I can't give more than that away because you gotta watch it. But basically the idea is this couple is having problems and this woman basically just vanishes. She leaves and the guy is going through all the stuff and a monster or something keeps visiting him every night. And you don't see it, but he swears there's this monster. And throughout the movie, you're trying to figure out if this is a real monster or if this is in his head and it's somehow to do with her leaving and him like maybe wrestling with his demons or something like that. But it ends up having some pretty interesting twists, and it is pretty fun, but it also is a very dramatic movie that's more of almost like a relationship drama in a lot of ways. So it might not be for everyone, but I found it to be very interesting because it is different in a lot of ways than stuff I'd seen before.
Hell, I'm not entirely convinced it's not you. You like a werewolf or something?
All right, next up is the 2019 film Peninsula. Which is Train to Busan 2. And I actually saw this in theaters while I was on a limited theater run last summer, and I got lucky. A theater had it playing and I was able to check it out. I actually did a full review of this, so if you want to hear more of what I thought about it, the link is up here. But let me just warn you right off the top. If you loved Train to Busan and you're wanting to watch the sequel, this really isn't your movie, and because of that, a lot of people were disappointed and unhappy with this. But if you just want to go in and see an action-packed, over-the-top, weird, crazy zombie movie, then I think you'll have a good time with it. Like me personally, I enjoyed it because I just watched it for what it was, and it's mostly an action movie that does have zombies. It's less horror, more action, definitely less of the drama than Train to Busan, and it doesn't pull on the heartstrings like Train to Busan. But if you go into it and just watch it for what it is, don't think about this is a Train to Busan sequel. It is called Peninsula, and so just think of it as Peninsula. It's just in that same world, so to speak, that Train to Busan was in. But it's nothing like it. It's very, very different. But if you do that, then I think you can still have a good time with it. All right, now we go to a movie from 2019 called The Furies. And I had a really good time with this movie. So this movie feels in a lot of ways like things you might have seen before, but I promise you, it does get different. It does have its own spin and its own twist, but it is the basic premise is a lot like The Hunt. You basically have these people that are dropped in this woods and are being hunted. But it has a weird twist, like I said. And I don't want to give it away because it's fun to discover that as the movie unfolds. But because of that twist, it goes places that those movies didn't and becomes something kind of really unique in and of itself. And it is a small movie though, so don't expect this big, showy, well-produced kind of thing. This is a smaller movie on a smaller budget, but I feel like it still does a really good job with what it was working with. And I thought the designs of things were really well done. The acting I thought was solid. Just in general, for such a small movie, I had a really good time with it. And it does get pretty gory and it does get pretty brutal. But if you're someone who enjoys that and does enjoy small indie horror, then I think you definitely will enjoy this film. Okay, so now we go to the 2020 release, Slaxx.
What if there's a killer out there?
Are you afraid there's a killer out there?
Yeah.
This movie is really polarizing. I've heard a lot of people that are like, oh man, that movie's horrible, like one of the worst I've ever seen, which I really don't get. And then a lot of people love it. I'm more in the camp of I love it. I think it is unique in a lot of ways. I mean, the basic idea is you have a pair of killer pants. But strangely enough, the second half of this movie, or really the final third of this movie, it gets really serious and it has some pretty powerful messages that it's trying to get across. And I feel like it does a really good job of that, but yet it doesn't stop being fun. Like, this movie is what you're expecting as well. A pair of killer pants that gets gory and starts killing people. And that is a blast. I mean, it really is a lot of fun. But yet, like I said, it does actually go there where it has a message that you actually feel. So I thought it worked, and so I am a fan of this movie, so I do recommend it.
So we know two things. It loves Bollywood music, and it has a bindi on its forehead.
Slaxx. Small price to pay for an awesome ass.
So next I go to the 2015 film Howl.
The station can't be more than, what, 2 miles walk? We follow the tracks, we'll all stay together. I don't see there'd be a problem.
Who is it?
Run!
Back on the train, everyone!
And I've recommended this movie before on other lists I've done, but this is the first time recommending it for Shudder, I believe. But this is a great little werewolf movie that I'm always surprised how little it's talked about. Like, if you're someone like me who loves werewolf movies, loves the lore of it, loves the look of it, loves the goriness of it, and the craziness of werewolf movies, and you've not seen Howl, then I do highly recommend it. It's a newer film, so it's not that old cheesiness. It's actually done really, really well, and it really does have its own flavor in a lot of ways. I'm always just so surprised that more people don't talk about this movie or recommend this movie, because it's really fun and gory and just full of werewolf creepiness and over-the-topness. It is just a good time. So now we go to the 2019 film Satanic Panic.
Who are you?
I'm the pizza guy. Girl?
Are you by any chance a virgin?
That's a very personal question.
She's a virgin.
And this is another really campy, in a lot of ways, over-the-top cult horror satanic movie, but it is so fun to me. Like, I had a really great time with this. It's a well-produced, it looks great, just a really, really fun movie, and it has a few recognizable stars from Buffy and other TV shows, and I just loved it. I was really surprised on what a great little movie this was, and how good it looks, and how well it's acted. It just is a really polished movie that, once again, I'm just surprised that I hadn't heard more about this movie, because it looks like it had a fair-sized budget and some decent acting. I'm just surprised that I didn't see it pushed more. But it is on Shudder, and while it is there, I do recommend you give this a watch, especially for someone who enjoys horror comedies. Because if you enjoy campy horror comedies and you haven't seen this, then I think you're in for a treat.
Death to the weak, wealth to the strong.
You should stop drinking.
You really want to face this over?
And last up on my list is the 2019 film Porno. And no, this movie is not a porno.
The science of porn is well known. The human brain, when aroused by erotic images, dumps chemicals into the bloodstream, which send the viewer into full throttle, give me more mode.
It was so funny. Just looking up anything about this movie, it's hilarious, because it's really hard to find anything about this actual movie, because every porno in the world type of thing pops up. So in a lot of ways, this movie reminded me of Satanic Panic. It had a very similar tone. Like Satanic Panic, it's very comedy horror, but this one is a little bit more in the horror and a little less over-the-top campy, but this movie really goes for it in so many different ways. There are some gory scenes, one in particular that is one of the most brutal scenes I've seen in a movie that's not basically a snuff film. I mean, this has some really, really gory, really gross stuff, but it's a fun little movie, and it really goes for that satanic edge and just over the top, like demons, and it's just a great time. And it's hard to express what this movie is because it's kind of all over the place. It's really just this crazy, whacked out, demonic adventure that these teenagers go through in this theater. They basically discover some satanic porno video kind of thing, and they're extremely religious, and it just goes absolutely buck wild and is a really, really fun movie that I think you will really have a good time with.
See, kids? That's why I don't watch porno.
Please leave any comments down below. Let me know if you've seen any of these and what you thought of them. Also, I love getting recommendations from you guys. It really helps me out. But if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel and when I post videos like this. And I try to post videos like this at least 2 times every week. And I also want to give a huge thank you to my patrons, because your support seriously means so much to me. And if you would like to find out more about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember, horror can be fun. I will see you guys next time.